Hello. I have returned from dog sitting and I am back to my regular scheduled programming. Hello. Hi. What up? What's going on with my hair? Who knows? Who could say? Who could say? Can't be me. All right, I got my flannels on for the Canadian. I got my hat on for the politics, and I'm wearing a Mario shirt. I hope everybody's having a good day. Welcome back. This is technically my Monday, but you know, whatevs. It's all good. Wait, we're gonna turn this music off. Fuck this shit. All right, you guys ready to talk about fucking Joe Rogan? I don't know if I've ever covered Joe Rogan on this channel. I think I've talked like about him, like he's been talked about, he's been mentioned. Like, I've seen clips of Joe Rogan. I think we might have watched him talking to Jordan Peterson, but I don't think we've like ever sat down and like fucking went through a Joe Rogan video. So this might be our inaugural God, why are we talking about Joe Rogan episode? That might be the way. I like how pretty this looks. I didn't get to see it for the whole couple of days I was gone. I was off dog sitting. That's where I've been. And for anybody who doesn't know, my schedule has changed. We'll be streaming on Sunday instead of Tuesdays. So Tuesdays I will have off, and then so I'll have Tuesday, Wednesday off, and we'll be streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Debate Hub, Sunday. That's gonna be our stream layout. Yeah, thanks. The hair, no. Cue montage. Yeah, yeah, for anybody who doesn't know who Joe Rogan is, he was a wrestling commentator, and he was the host of Fear Factor, and he's gone on to do one of the most successful podcasts that has ever existed, only to be beaten out by Markiplier and Bob and Wade and Distractable, only for a short little while for him to return to his spot at the top. And he's mostly just, he gets high and talks to people as if they know what they're talking about, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Do I like Joe Rogan? I don't know, I haven't watched enough of his shit. I've seen the results of what he says and does, and those results seem to be not so great, but, as for him as a person, I don't fucking know. If you're a fan of Joe Rogan, or you've, like, watched more of this shit, let me know. I'd love to know your opinions, but as for me, I don't really have I don't have a terribly well-formed opinion of Joe. But, Pierre Poilievre was there and went on to the Joe Rogan podcast. I would love to know what people's thoughts are in, why the fuck the leader of the opposition party in Canada went to go talk to Joe Rogan on his stupid podcast. If you know why he might have done that, I would love to know what you think Pierre Poilievre's thought process is behind this. I have some ideas about what his thought process might be, but I haven't totally decided. So let's hit play and see how this goes. Obviously, I skipped the intro, but this is 2.5 hours long. So buckle up, boys. Also, now take your bets right now about how long it's going to be before I have to go get some alcohol. Because I'm worried that it's not going to be very long at all. All right. I didn't prep beer for this, which is probably a mistake on my part. Hello, welcome. Hi. We do have the costume bar up and rolling. And do you guys want this? Do you want to unleash the spice? Do you want to have a spice day? Yeah, let's do it. I haven't done spice in a while. Let's set a goal. We'll call it 10. All the colors. Call it 2 hours. Unleash the spice. Okay, people are saying I'm gonna last 10 minutes. I'm gonna last 15 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. 5 minutes. All right. You guys have no faith in me. Yeah, to be fair, I don't have any faith. Give me an excuse to drink. All right. So for anybody who doesn't know, hi, I'm Shesh. I am Canadian, and I'm going to be the Canadian looking at this today. I don't know if I'm typical nor average, but I have followed politics. So, for a few years now. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. And for anybody who cares, I voted for Mark Carney. If that's a make or break for you about where my position is. I think Pierre Poilievre is a wet sock of a person. Has the charisma of, like, a really ugly toad who's a douchebag. Alright, let's go.
No worries, sir. Pleasure to meet you.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Great to be back in Texas.
Pleasure. I'm glad we finally did this.
Yes, me too.
I wanted to do it the first go-around.
Yeah, I know. Well, when I got the invitation, we were in the middle of the election.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did Joe abduct Pierre Poilievre in a burlap sack? And that's what that is? He's just poking out of a burlap sack? What the fuck Muppet ass shit is this? He's just sitting... What? Did fucking Joe Rogan bonk him on the head and fucking grab him in a sack and then dump him onto the set? Like, what? Yes, Texas, the most popular of states in Canada. the fuck? Alright.
Election. And we just don't leave the country during election campaigns.
I get it.
Bro, he left the country right when... the last time that they're referring to is when Jordan Peterson interviewed Pierre Poilievre right as Justin Trudeau stepped down and an election was called. So he did do that. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I mean, if he abducted him in a burlap sack, I think he could probably keep him. It's fine. He's yours now.
And the problem we've had is we can't get you to come to Canada. And so we've actually hatched a full strategy to get you into Canada because we think it's going to do big things for our tourism numbers. So...
What? 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 Guys, it's been like 30 seconds. Huh? Alright, first things first, is there a call in Canada to have Joe Rogan here? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's a thing. As far as I know, Joe Rogan is, like, semi-popular in Canada, but not, like... I don't know where he's getting that from. On the other hand, also, why would that do anything for tourism? He does a podcast. What? Like, how would that help tourism? Do people regularly travel to Texas to see Joe Rogan? I guess people go there to talk to him on his show, but, like, that's like one person at a time. I don't understand this at all. Yes, of course, beloved treasure of Canada, Joe Rogan. What? I'm dropping my alcohol prediction down from 5 minutes to 3. Yeah, fair. All right. Wow. Oh, man.
Do you mind if I present you with something right out of the gate?
Sure.
All right. This is from a gunsmith and machine.
Oh, Pierre Poilievre brought the burlap sack for himself. He brought his own. He comes with his own sack.
In Calgary, Alberta. His name is Jay, and he's designed. Look at this kettlebell.
Yes, Jay from Canada.
Guess what the weight is?
70 pounds.
70 pounds. That's the weight you have, and it says on the front here, Jamie. It says here on the front, Jamie, pull it up. So you've got that. We've got. You see here some other stuff for a stand.
I think it's appropriate that he's basically giving a dumbbell to a dumbbell. So it's a dumbbell giving a dumbbell to a dumbbell.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Look at this stand here. So we've got...
Why is there so much shit on the desk? I can see the garbage. Okay, look, listen. Okay, so we got some, whatever this skull is here. We got a little, I don't know, bottle of acetone or something. And then, like, this alien being held up by fucking deer antlers, and then, like, a skull or something. It's like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is. I don't know what this is. That's a cup. There's another cup. There's microphones, whatever the fuck this is. A pen, I guess, the stand that this dumbbell's supposed to go onto. But look right here. That is literally just a garbage. It's not even like a garbage can. It is just, it might be a can. Is it in like a bin? It's what kind of fucking set layout is this supposed to be?
Is
this supposed to be like, look, this is my workbench. I'm definitely doing lots of work on my workbench. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Is believing, which I think was the slogan of the first UFC that you were the commentator for. I think it was number 13?
12.
Number 12,
yeah.
right? And
yeah, it was pretty close.
Your favorite quote from, what's his name? The Japanese...
Why is Pierre Poilievre sucking up to Joe Rogan so hard?
Martial artist.
Musashi.
Yes, and it says, if you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything.
Yeah.
So that's here. And then Morse code, there's a thank you letter for you. And you've got your flying saucer.
Oh,
and we've got your logo here too. So, but most important of all,
did the taxpayers of Canada pay for this? Do we pay for this? I'm kind of concerned that we paid for this. It's really funny coming back to stream after 2 days off, and coming back to stream having spent the last stream like setting up our background and making it really nice, to then come in and look at this piece of shit set. Good God.
Got a subliminal message, which is the Canadian maple leaf.
Oh,
so
cool.
Every time you do a kettlebell swing, you do a snatch, you do a clean, you're going to be seeing that maple leaf, and you're going to be reminding yourself that you need to come back to Canada.
All right.
All right?
All right.
I'll present that to you there.
I hope we didn't. Yeah, I hope we didn't too. Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much.
Logo on there too.
Very cool. Is that in the way, Jamie?
I can take it off.
We'll take it off.
I'll just pick it up. Here, put it down.
So I saw
Nice ass,
I saw
Joe.
your interview with Pavel, and I'm a
Yeah.
big kettlebell freak.
Are you really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I started researching him after.
I'm a big kettlebell freak. I don't believe him. What a weird thing to say.
You had him on, and I love history, so I was thinking, why did the Russians come up with this? And it turns out they used it as a counterweight at the farmer markets. So they would say, you come in, you have to say, this is how much potatoes you're buying. But instead of trying to do it by eyeball, they would put what is now a kettlebell on one side of the scale, and then the produce on the other. And then at the farmers' expeditions,
Pierre Poilievre is winded from having held that bell for that long. I just want to let you guys know, like, he's breathing heavily. So for a kettlebell freak,
you had these big Russian farmers who want to show how strong they were. So they would pick them up and do all kinds of displays with them. And then the Russian army took it on, the Soviet army took it on, and then that's where Pavel picked it up and then brought it over the Atlantic and introduced it to America.
Wow, that's crazy. So it was just accidental that they made this very functional tool for fitness?
Yeah, it was just, you'd go to a farmer's market, you want to buy some barley or some potatoes, but you don't know if you're actually getting the real weight. So they'd have a scale, a balancing scale, and they'd put the kettlebell on one side and the produce on the other, and then you knew you got the right amount. And then, of course, they have these big farmers.
imagine lifting a heavy thing with a handle on it.
Farm fairs, and they're
He's
showing
just
off
excited.
their
Oh, maybe
horses
he's
and their
just
cattle and
excited.
stuff, and they'd want to do strength displays. So these farmers are throwing these things around, and the Russian military picked it up, and then the Soviets, of course, took over, and they took it on. And then Pavel, I think he was a Belarusian, though, if I'm not mistaken, Pavel.
I'm not
Setulin.
sure.
And he brought it over to North America. But the ancient Chinese did it as well. You got
Really?
Yeah, the ancient Chinese, the Shaolin monks have used them, but they didn't do it with cast iron. Theirs were sort of a concrete block, and they did it for strength training as well.
Oh, wow. Little history.
Are we gonna fact check any of that? Do we care? Do we care? Do we want to fact check about the history of the kettlebell? I don't. Are we gonna let that go? I think we're just gonna let that go. Let's. You know what? Tell you what. If you're a kettlebell aficionado, in the chat, you let me know. I don't. I'm not gonna. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Tree.
Yeah, so I'm a big kettlebell freak. I love it. And I really...
Yeah, Pimple Monk. I don't think they had concrete in ancient China. Well, it's, you don't know. You were there. If I type in kettlebell ancient China, what the fuck do you guys think is going to show up? He said specifically the Shaolin monks, right? Kettlebell origins and history from 700 BC to world domination from a website called Kettlebell World. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I gave me a privacy error. Kettlebell history. Kettlebell. I feel like he just rattled off the Wikipedia. That's like the vibe I'm getting. And weight training kettlebell is a cast iron or cast steel ball with a handle attached to the top of it. Ballistic exercises. Russia in the 18th century to weigh crops. And then circus strongmen for the 19th century. And it began use for recreational and competition strength athletics in Russia and Europe in the late 19th century. 1885. Similar weights used in ancient China thousands of years ago were stone lock, comparable to the modern kettlebell in terms of movement. Well, that took me half the amount of time. All right, anyway.
Started to study what Pavel's teaching. I think he has an accreditation or something. If I ever get time, I might take it.
Yeah, Strong First. Yeah. That's his organization.
And you have a whole program. I think you do clean to press and then...
Yeah, I do a bunch of different things.
Squats with overhead squat and all that.
It's a great functional tool just for your whole body.
Right.
You know, it's really one of the best pieces of exercise equipment I think I've ever found.
Yeah, I think he calls it a cannonball on a handle. The thing I like about it is it's like a catapult. Like all of the lift is in that instant where it flips over your hand. Mm-hmm. And
so
there
these
you
are the
go.
original ones. Wow, that's crazy.
Why does Joe Rogan sound like
was just to pick it up and carry it
Wilson?
around.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it had a real functional use.
Well, it's just amazing how good it is for a piece of exercise equipment that was accidentally designed that way.
Absolutely. And I think it's far superior to a dumbbell exercise because there's no... a dumbbell, you get a consistent lift, but that's not real life. If you're in a fight or you have to pick something up heavy, it doesn't lift consistently. Mm-hmm. It's explosive in that small range. And when you're doing a snatch, by the time you get up to your shoulder, the thing's weightless because the catapult effect has taken over, and now it's actually negative weight. It's lifting your hand up in the air if you're doing it right. But like if you're in a fight or if you're in a wrestling match or you're trying to push really hard against a heavy object, it's all about explosive.
I will take this moment to remind everybody that Pierre Poilievre is a career politician. That's what he does. That has been his entire career, has been just politics and nothing else. He's never been like a fighter. He's never been a wrestler. He's never been he's never worked on a farm and been he's... Can I telepathically send alcohol here? What are you talking about?
Of power, and that's what kettlebells give, rather than just this sort of freeze and contract thing that you do with dumbbells.
Have you always been a workout guy?
Yeah, look, I was big into sport.
I don't believe Joe Rogan is buying this bullshit. Have you always been a workout guy? No, he's a politician, Joe.
Until my mid-teens, I was on the wrestling team. I wasn't great. I was good, but I wasn't great. Then I got a wicked tendonitis in my shoulder, and it ended my athleticism for like 4 years, and that's how I got into politics. I was so bored. I get home from school. I had nothing to do, so I told my mother.
Tendonitis got you into politics?
Yeah, that's what it was. I just couldn't get rid of it. Like every time I thought I had it beat, I'd go in and I'd train, and it would be full of inflammation. No one could do anything about it. And so I was like bored out of my mind. And I said to my mom, like, you go to these local meetings with the Conservative Association, like take me to that because I'm going crazy. And
so you were a jock that was so bored about not being able to do jock things that you had no friends and asked your mom to take you to her local conservative club meeting? This is embarrassing. I'm so glad this man is not my fucking prime minister. Holy shit. No wonder he lost to fucking Mark Carney, who, played hockey. Oh man.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So what were you interested in when you first went there? Like, we just didn't like the way things were running? Like, what was it about it that got you so curious?
Well, I grew up in a suburban neighborhood in south end of Calgary. And my folks were teachers. I was adopted. My mom was a 16-year-old. She was obviously a single mom. She put me up for adopting 2 school teachers. There was electricians and oil workers and police officers lived on our street. Normal, hardworking, good folks. And I always grew up with the impression they were getting screwed over, and that the government didn't listen to people like them, didn't listen to people who grew up on streets like ours. And living in
streets like ours being regular suburbia, upper middle class suburbia. That's what he just described, right? Upper middle class suburbia in the 80s. Is this real? Are you kidding?
Western Canada, there was a greater sense of that. We called it Western alienation at the time. And there was this guy, kind of a quirky guy, but a really brilliant guy named Preston Manning. And I saw this billboard of him, and he had his fist up, and it said, "Enough." And I said, yeah, I like that guy. So I got involved in politics. And I started reading about different things. I read a biography on Fidel Castro, and then I read
Justin's dad.
No, not Justin's dad.
Right?
No.
For anybody who doesn't know, there's a meme in Canada about Justin Trudeau's father being Fidel Castro. There's like a whole conspiracy theory around it. That's the joke that Joe is making, for anybody who doesn't know.
Oh.
No, his dad was Pierre. His dad was Pierre. I had issues with Pierre Trudeau too. Because
it is a great conspiracy theory, though.
Well, it is a hell of a. I don't think it's a true one, though. His dad is Pierre. His dad was very controversial while I grew up because he did a lot of damage to the oil sector, and we're from oil country.
Pierre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's dad, was to call him controversial is fair. He did a lot of things that made a lot of people unhappy, and some of those things worked out, and some of those things didn't. You'd have to look at his history to kind of get the vibe. But at the same time, you could say that about a lot of things when you do them are unpopular at the time that end up being good in the long run. So that can happen. It's not controversial to say that Pierre Trudeau was controversial or that you didn't like him.
And so that was one of the things that I felt kind of resentful about the national government. And one of the reasons I got involved is because the West deserved a fairer deal. And but I read a lot of books like, Milton Friedman, Capitalism and Freedom, and I came to develop a philosophy based on just maximizing personal, financial, religious freedom. Let people make their own decisions. And that animated me to get involved in politics. And
PNC Bio makes a good point. Pierre Trudeau proposed the national energy product, which people in Alberta freaked out about at the time, but now are demanding it. It's pretty weird. Yeah, there's a lot of Alberta specifically, right? Calgary is in Alberta. Hey, thanks so much for using your Prime stub. Greatly appreciated.
Subscribed with Prime.
Hell yeah. So there's a Alberta has been like we affectionately call Alberta the Texas of Canada. Calgary is in Alberta, so that's where he's saying he's from, what he's talking about. And Alberta has less taxes than and has for a long time than other provinces because of how much money they make in the oil industry. Now, is it a mistake for Alberta to rely so heavily on oil all the time? Probably, but it's understandable, and it's an understandable sort of political error to make. But there's a lot of whether or not Alberta is being treated fairly, I think is a question for the people of Alberta. And Alberta has got a pretty close to a 50-50 split between left wing and right wing. It doesn't look that way if you look at any chart, because like if you look at the numbers chart, there the Liberal Party is split between the left is split between Liberals, Green, and the NDP. And then the Conservatives are all lumped into just the one Conservative. So it looks like this, but if you actually add these numbers together, it comes down to a little bit more conservative than left-leaning, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But from my understanding, again, I'm from Southern Ontario. I've lived briefly out east before, but I haven't been out west. So you have to take this with a grain of salt coming from me. From my understanding, it's that there's a lot of things Alberta is not happy with, and the people who live in Alberta are not happy with, reasonably so. But their anger, I think, is misdirected. It's in the wrong place. So like they're upset about their healthcare. They're upset about the cost of living or whatever, right? And these are reasonable things to be upset about. But they voted in a Conservative for decades. So they keep voting in the same people, because this is healthcare is a provincial issue, not a federal issue. So they have these issues that could be and should be dealt with by their provincial government. They continue to vote in a Conservative Party, continue to have these problems, and these problems keep getting worse and worse, and they blame the federal government for it instead. And this happens in Ontario as well. This is not something that is exclusively happens to, this happens in Ontario too. We have issues with healthcare, and there's a lot of people in Ontario who blame the federal government for it when it is actually our Conservative provincial leader who is the problem, or not doing the thing that we want him to do. But he points the finger at them, and people believe him for whatever reason. So, I mean, maybe try not having a Conservative leader for a couple of years and see how that goes for you, Alberta. Maybe that'll help. I'm not telling you to vote for the Liberals, just maybe try not a Conservative for a little while. Yeah, they had a NDP premiere for about 10 years ago. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Fight for that, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, that's a fascinating transition from wrestling and tendonitis getting deeply involved in politics.
Yeah, I mean, you're a sports guy. If you had suffered an injury that took you out of Taekwondo when you were young, and you simply couldn't compete at anything, you'd probably be looking for some other adventure.
Yeah,
that's how it was.
Well, we're lucky that stem cells weren't
Calling fucking politics an adventure as like a sport. I mean, I guess. All right, sure.
Looking for some other adventure.
Yeah,
that's how it was.
Well, we're lucky that stem cells weren't around back then, or you never would have gotten into politics.
That's right. I would have been a wrestler. I don't know.
Stem cells weren't around back then? Guys, did you know that stem cells were invented in the 90s? God damn it. I know what he meant, but that was such a weird way to say it.
I don't know if I would have won any awards, but yeah, that was how I got started, and I got very active very quickly. I got my first internship making $600 a month when I was 16 or 17 years old, and would take 2 trains and a bus, and an hour and 45 minutes each way. But I was so thrilled. My dad bought me a used suit and a used pair of shoes. And I thought, this is so incredible. I'm an important guy. I wear dress shoes. I wear a tie. Didn't matter that the tie was bought from some dead guy whose family had sold it to a used store. But that was my start, and I loved it.
Well,
good God, man. What? He's so weird. Why would you want to be the prime minister and you talk about people like this? Like, what? Good God. I I'm important. I wear a suit and a tie. Why do I feel like remember when he last year, the end or the very beginning or the very end of 2024, he went when we covered him going on to Jordan Peterson's show, and on Jordan Peterson's show he said that he hasn't changed his mind about anything in politics in the last since he wrote a paper when he was a teenager, right? When he was at the end of high school. Yeah, he basically just said he had a 4-hour daily commute. Yeah. Just the fact that he admitted that between the ages of 20 and 21 he made founded his opinions, and then for him to turn around and say that, hey, when I was around this age, this is what I thought. If I wore a suit and a tie, that meant I was important. And he also claimed that he hasn't changed his mind about anything in politics. Do you guys think that he still thinks that if you wear a suit and a tie, you're important? Probably. You don't have to do anything. You just have to show up wearing these clothes.
Well, I'm really excited to have you in here because I've seen you speak multiple times, and you're a very reasonable, intelligent person that makes a lot of sense, and that is...
Oh yeah? Is that what you got from him here, Joe, so far? Is that he's reasonable, intelligent, and makes a lot of sense and hasn't already been saying some insane shit? Oh, brother.
That is a rare thing in politics. And I love Canada. I just say, I don't go up there anymore, but it's because I think the government went horribly wrong over the last, X amount of years. But the people...
What? Didn't he say he didn't like us not too long ago?
Were amazing. It's I've always said that Canada has it's like America with 20% less assholes. Every time I would go up there, I'm like, people are so nice. They're the nicest people. And yeah. I think that's part of what went wrong for Canada, is that people are rule followers, and they're trusting and kind people, and this wolf in sheep's clothing snuck in and was pretending he was a sweet guy and passing all these crazy laws. And
are you talking about Trudeau? As if Justin Trudeau went from being this weak little man who apologizes to people to he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Just what? Okay.
Just when we saw what happened with COVID, with what happened with the truckers and people's accounts getting shut down for donating to the truckers, the whole thing was so concerning because...
You mean that people got their accounts frozen because they were donating to a group that was considered a terrorist organization because a bunch of truckers went to Ottawa and terrorized Ottawa? They lit a fucking apartment building on fire and locked the doors from the outside so people couldn't get out, right? That happened. And that a lot of those truckers weren't Canadian, and a lot of the funding wasn't Canadian, and it was being driven by, fucking Russia? Yeah, what's the problem with following the rules? And then the consequences coming from not following the rules? Huh? Huh? Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. Go figure.
It's our Canada was like a part of America almost. I mean, you're a different country.
Trudeau wrecked Canada with laws, such as, yeah, what laws? What laws are you talking about? Yeah, that wasn't they were just burning down apartment buildings. They were, like, terrorizing the people who lived in that area by, like, just honking their horns. They got in altercations with the police. There was, like, a whole fucking thing. It was a big thing. Like, it was a big thing. But, like, what? Jesus Christ.
But it's like, you used to be able to go over there with just a driver's license. You know, it was like, it was.
Yeah, why did that change, Joe? What changed? What happened when you can just drive over the border with just a driver's license? Was it 9/11, Joe? Was it the Americans? Was it people from the United States having a fucking whole ass flip out and being concerned that terrorists were coming into the United States through Canada, even though Canada was the one who took on all the fucking planes and all the stranded fucking people after fucking 9/11 happened? Joe! You fucking ingrate! Good God! Oh no! Liberals make a commercial and use the exact part where Joe says Canada was basically a part of the United States. Yeah, I know, right? Canada was basically a part of the United States. You don't think that's a problem? Good God, man. Is this what people in the United States think about Canada? Do they just think that Canada's just, like, basically a part of the United States? Yeah, now he wants open borders! What the hell?
It was such a cool place. I started going to the Montreal Comedy Festival in, like, 1993. I loved it up there. It's, like, one of my favorite places to visit.
Just for laughs?
There's literally nothing stopping you from visiting now, Joe. It's not like you have to wear a mask. COVID has been dealt with. Do we need to compare the COVID numbers in Canada versus the United States and see how many people died of COVID in Canada versus how many people died in the United States? To talk about how COVID was handled? Yeah, admittedly not perfect. Admittedly could have gone better, but... Bro... Are we still running around wearing masks? Have our freedoms in Canada been taken away because we wore masks during COVID and had free vaccines? Did a bunch of fucking Canadians die because we all got the COVID vaccine? No! Oh, well, shit. Damn, guys. How the fuck you bring up a COVID conspiracy, Joe?
Yeah.
Good. How's your French?
Not good.
Okay,
No.
We'll work on that. We'll get you some French lessons.
It's terrible. I don't know.
Joe Rogan would not survive Montreal. If Joe Rogan moved to Montreal, he would, and was still saying shit like this, he would get bullied so bad.
Any French words. My wife is learning French, though. It's interesting. She's got this app that she's learning French. But it's just an amazing place. It's a great country. And to see it...
To be fair, yeah, Joe Rogan trying to speak French does sound very funny, yeah.
Go the way it's been going and sliding the way it's been happening over the last, X amount of years. There's just so many things that concern me. One of the things that really concerns me.
You could name one. Do you think he's going to name one and, like, be specific, or do you think he's going to be vague again? I think he's going to be vague again.
Years. There's just so many things that concern me. One of the things that really concerns me is this assisted suicide thing.
Why would that prevent you from traveling to a country as a visitor? That's so bizarre. Like, he's talking about traveling to Canada as if, like, the government's gonna come and get him, or that there's, like, some kind of risk to traveling to Canada for him. And it's like, where? What are you talking about? Nobody cares. He talks about it like he's, like, you're traveling to a country where it's, like, a dictatorship, and, like, you could get, like, you're traveling to North Korea. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Joe? Oh my god. All right, I want to hear about. Hold on, I want to hear about his issue with assisted suicide. Go on, Joe.
1 in 20 deaths in Canada is now assisted suicide. That's insane.
Well,
All right, where does citation needed that? Hold on. 1 in 20 deaths are assisted suicide, Canada. Be worried about ice, Joe. Man, you Canadians got problems. Yeah, we got problems, man. All right, here's a BBC article. Okay. All right, well, I'm not seeing do we have like a there's not even a fucking Canadian article about this. All right, well, I guess we'll take we got the BBC and we've got this one as well. Which is assisted dying now accounts for 1 in 20 deaths in Canada, but rate of growth slows. All right, so let's see what the article says. Medically assisted dying, also known as voluntary euthanasia, accounted for 4.7% of deaths in Canada in 2023, new government data shows. This article is from 2024, December. The country's 5th annual report since euthanasia was legalized in 2016 showed around 15,300 people underwent assisted dying last year after being successful in their applications. Oh, you mean you have to apply and you have to be assessed before this happens? Yes, yes, yes. The median age of this group was more than 77. The vast majority, around 96%, had a death deemed reasonably foreseeable due to severe medical conditions such as cancer. In the small minority of other cases, patients may not have been terminally ill, but sought an assisted death due to a long and complicated illness that had significantly impacted their quality of life. Well, damn. Look out. This is the thing that concerns Joe Rogan, that he doesn't want to travel to Canada. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Joe Rogan would rather have people suffer. I'll give you guys the links, by the way, so if you guys want to check these out, you guys can do so on your own time, and you can read through them more thoroughly. Why does this sound like Joe Rogan only read the fucking title of the article and then didn't read what was in the article? By the way, if you keep looking, Canada is among few countries that introduced assisted dying laws in the past decade. Others include Australia, New Zealand, Spain, and Austria. In Canada, consenting adults can request medical assistance in dying from a healthcare provider if they have a serious and irremediable medical condition. Some provisions are in place, including requirement of having 2 independent healthcare providers confirm that the patient is eligible before the request can be approved. Guys, I would love to... You guys want to debate this? Oh my fucking god. Alright, Joe. Go on. It's insane. This must be insane. It sounds so crazy. You know, I got like people fucking haranguing me about talking about assisted suicide before, and they got fucking mad. The BBC isn't a good link? What, you mean like the link didn't work, or you mean you don't like the citation being the BBC? That's okay, because here's the 2024 that I believe this article is based off of this report. So, there's the abstract. If you want it. Anyway. All right, let's keep going.
Listen, my view is that people should have the choice But the concern we have is the suggestion that it would be offered to kids or
Right.
offered to people whose only condition is mental illness.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
My concern as well. I mean, if
Yeah.
someone's got a terminal, like a good friend of
My guy, what about this part is not statistics? What part about this is not the statistic? How is the median age of the group being 77 not a statistic? What about 96% is not a statistic? You just want a more thorough citation? You want me to go do the fucking... you want me to find the study? You want the PubMed one? You want this one? You want the National Library of Medicine? You want that one? You want Statistics Canada? Sixth annual report on assisted dying. You want this one? Is this the one you want? There you go. 95.6. There you go. There's the there it is. Vast majority of people receiving MAID or MAID in 2024 had a reasonably foreseeable death. A person whose death is reasonable foreseeable, i.e. they are close to death, is referred to as track 1. These made up of 95.6%. Ta-da! I'll give you this one too. Ta-da! All right, anyway. I mean, if somebody's... okay, so, like, the debate about whether or not you should open it up to other things, that can be debated, sure. But it seems like Joe is upset about this assisted suicide existing at all, and Pierre Poilievre is fine with it. He just doesn't like this thing that he said about it being given to kids, but I don't know where he's getting that from.
To kids or
Right.
offered to people whose only condition is mental illness.
Right.
Only condition is mental illness? Why does that sound dismissive about how aggressive and difficult and big of a deal, like as if mental illness isn't a big deal? We all know about statistics that are 95%. Yeah, ableism.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with that.
My concern as well. I mean, if
Yeah.
someone's got a terminal, like a good friend of mine went to
Depression is a terminal illness, guys. Depression can make you kill yourself. How is that not terminal? What about that is not terminal? Oh my god.
Oregon to end his life because he had ALS.
Okay.
But I mean, he was gone. I mean,
Right.
he could barely talk at the end of his life. His name is Michael Lair. He was
So you're okay with it then?
a regular guest on Kill Tony. Great guy.
Right.
And it was horrible. I mean, watching him fade away, and he wanted to go out on his own terms. So
Right.
he went to Oregon for assisted suicide. I mean, there's a place for it.
Yeah.
But-
So it's fine then? What? What? Joe?
I mean, there was a kid recently in Canada, and he did it for seasonal depression. I'm sure you're aware of that
He did what for seasonal depression?
case.
I am.
Like, who allowed that to happen? Who didn't counsel this young guy? Who didn't give him a hug? Who didn't tell him about diet and exercise and changing your surroundings, your lifestyle, and just do something
Right.
to give you
Yeah, why have depression when you could just do something? Just do something, guys. What the fuck? Do we have a citation for what kid he is talking about doing something? Oh my god.
some hope and happiness. Like, seasonal depression?
I
Really?
know.
You're going to end your life, this beautiful life on this planet, for seasonal depression? That's
And
crazy.
that's why we have to do
I don't know what to tell you. Holy shit. Yeah, that's incredibly, yeah, just clean your room. Why be depressed? Just be happy. But just just get some hope in your life. Change your diet. Eat some Cheetos or something. God, get over it. What the fuck? Good lord.
More to give people hope when they're suffering with mental illness.
Yes.
Give people the sense that they can take back control of their lives.
If there's anything that you should have control over your life, it's whether or not it continues. That is 100%. If there is anything in your life that you ought to be in 100% control of, it's that.
I think we do have to promote fitness more because it turns them into a subject that controls their surroundings rather than an object being controlled. It teaches people that hardship is temporary.
Just get everybody a free. Listen, he just wants free handouts, guys. He's just asking for free handouts for fitness classes for everyone and free workout equipment for everybody. Everybody's gonna get a treadmill. Everybody's gonna get one of these kettlebells with Joe Rogan's fucking face on it if he gets elected. Holy shit, this is horrid. Oh my god. I'm so glad this guy is not our prime minister. Holy shit. Could you imagine? Guys, just go outside for a walk. Always look on the bright side of life. Holy Jesus.
And that the aftermath is positive.
The hardship of depression is temporary, and the aftermath is... Tell me you don't know anything about depression and anxiety and, living with mental illness, because mental issues don't go away most of the time. If you've got, narcissism, ADD, depression, what you do is you learn ways to cope and deal and live with them. They don't just stop happening. Good fucking lord. Won't need maid if you can walk into the ocean holding a Joe Rogan kettlebell. What's wrong with recommending a healthy lifestyle? As a cure for depression? Gee, I don't know. What could possibly be wrong with that? Almost because it does fucking nothing. Just don't be depressed. Just go for a walk, guys. That's not how the issue works. That's why. Simple as that.
And we have to reinstill people with a sense of meaning when they're going through hardship, rather than to say that it's all over. And I think we have to.
Who's saying that though? Who's he responding to? Who's saying, "Well, it's all over, just give up"? I don't think that's what anybody's saying. It's almost like they don't know what any of this actually is, or any of this actually says, or what any of these things actually mean. The median age for individuals receiving MAID under Track 1 was 78 years old, and 60.9 were over 75 years in age. Cancer was the most frequently reported underlying medical condition, cited in 63.6% of cases. For Track 2, which is Track 2 refers to MAID recipients who were assisted as having a natural death that was not reasonably foreseeable. Small minority of 4.4%. The median age was 75.9 years, and 53.5 were over the age of 75 years old. Greater percentage of women. People assisted under Track 2 lived longer with a serious and incurable condition than those under Track 1. 34.1% of those under Track 2 lived with a serious and incurable illness, disease, or disability for more than 10 years, compared to 77.4% of those under Track 1. Neurological conditions and other conditions, such as diabetes, frailty, autoimmune conditions, chronic pain, were the most commonly cited underlying medical conditions. Go figure. It's almost like if you actually read the statistics and actually read what these things say, to force somebody to live in unbearable chronic pain for another 5 years at 75 years old is kind of just torturing them for no fucking feasible reason. Go figure. Go fucking figure.
System needs to be geared towards giving people all the best options to live on, rather than just suggesting MAID as the easy, as the automatic path for the system to impose on people. So
yeah, that's not what's happening. I don't know if you actually like paid attention when I was reading this and paid attention to what the requirements were. It is not just an automatic thing that you just get to go do for funsies over the weekend, dipshit.
So one of the things our party is pushing for is to make clear that public servants who are getting phone calls from people who are in need of help for something,
anybody who says exercise cures your mental illness is selling something.
Shouldn't be offering that. They should be offering MAID. People can seek it out if they want.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pibble Monk. Dumbass thinks he's morally superior for calling suicidal people lazy. Yeah, that's basically what he's saying.
But when you're calling up saying I'm poor or I'm struggling or I'm having a mental illness or I've got an injury, we shouldn't have a government worker saying, well, consider MAID.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that anywhere...
Yeah, having the option exists isn't the same as pushing it on people, guys. Saying, hey, this is an option that you can take is not the system just automatically shoving people through. Even the example you gave doesn't fucking comport with your own narrative and your own agenda that you're trying to push. Unreal.
Organization that gets formed wants to grow. And you get financial incentives, and then you hire more people, and then it gets bigger, and then what do you have to do? Well, you have to keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Well, what are you doing? You're killing people. So you're going to kill more people because you're actually financially incentivized to put more people through this program and end their lives. That's...
What? The hoops! Bro, the hoops we gotta jump through for this. It's like, that sounded like projection, right? Like, that sounded like projection, didn't it? You know, the number of people that are gonna end up with mental issues who are listening to Joe Rogan saying, hey, just do more fitness, and they do more fitness and it doesn't help. Then what? Then what happens, Joe? Could you be more irresponsible? Unreal.
It's very sad.
I think we have to get to a point where people have the freedom to make their own decisions, but they also have hope that there is...
That means you have to make the decision available for people to make their own decisions. The decision has to be available and made available to them, and they have to be aware of that decision. Unreal.
There's an option for them.
Yeah,
and
give
that's what
them
we're trying
a pathway. You know, and like the exercise thing, it's not just give them, you know, control of their life. It makes them happier. There's been studies that show it's much more effective than antidepressants.
Absolutely. Well, it's first of all, there's the physiological side.
I'm just gonna go ahead and drop a citation needed here. There are cases and things that can help when it comes to, like, you know, going outside and touching grass and get a dog. All these fucking things. Some of these things can be utilized in conjunction with whatever your therapist is telling you. So if your therapist is telling you, hey, maybe go for a walk sometimes as well, maybe listen to your fucking therapist. Don't just do fitness, which is what these guys are fucking saying. Yeah, as part of a broader strategy. Orange Dot's got it. If this is part of the strategy, and this is part of one of the things that you're trying to assist in regards to whatever greater thing you're doing, then great, listen to your therapist.
Which affects the brain, but it's also the sense...
Guys, it's okay. We've solved depression. Go for a walk. Jestrez in the chat said so. Said 100%. It 100% helps. You don't need to do anything else, guys. Just lift more weights. Go get yourself a dumbbell. no. These people do not understand depression. These people do not understand that depression and mental illness will stop you from like even doing so much as going and having a shower daily. Like these people are just, not only are they completely ignorant and not understanding, but they don't fucking care. This is the kind of rhetoric that does lead people to suicide, because they're not being given any other options, because they're not they're being told to just do this and it'll make you feel better. They're just these people have no fucking clue. They have no fucking clue, and they don't care.
Sensation of discomfort that you push through, knowing that
it's just discomfort, guys. You're just a little bit uncomfortable. You can just push past it.
To focus on the thing you have to do. And that, I think, it helps us in anything we're encountering, whether you're going through
you have to live life. You're obligated.
Divorce or a bankruptcy or an injury or an illness, if you know that pushing through to the other side because you've got a meaning.
I will remind you, pushing through to the other side of the terminal illness that you have when you're 75 years old is what they're talking about. Just to be clear.
There, that can give people hope for a better life. You know, my favorite psychologist is Viktor Frankl, and he developed this Lagos treatment, which was basically giving people a sense of meaning. He survived the Holocaust in the concentration camp because he had a sense of meaning that he wanted to. His book was stolen from him in the concentration camp about this theory, and he wanted to live on so he could survive and write that book. And then he found in his teaching that it wasn't so much people's circumstances that determined their happiness, it was whether they had a meaning in life. And he tells this incredible story of a group therapy session where he had this very rich woman who was married to a very rich man. And he had next to him another lady who was living in terrible poverty. She'd lost a son and had a second severely disabled son. And he said to both of them, "What will your life look like when you're 80 years old and you're on your deathbed?" And the wealthier lady...
Oh, so like, yeah, they're literally talking about just pushing people to stay alive for an extra 5 years for some reason.
He said, "Well, I will look back and think that I had some fun and enjoyed the luxuries of being very wealthy and having an easy life, that there wasn't a lot of meaning to it." And whereas the mother who was struggling with a disabled child...
Guys, how do not understand depression? Don't you, what are you confused about?
Child and had lost another one said, "Well, I gave my first child a great life, a short one, but a great one. I struggled to give my disabled child a good, dignified existence, and I leave this world satisfied and happy that my life had purpose and meaning." And the lesson I take from that is that it is not about whether you have a gazillion dollars or whether your life is easy. It's whether you have...
Yeah, money doesn't buy happiness. We all know that. Have we not learned that? Money doesn't buy happiness, but having enough money to not be struggling removes stress.
Have some meaning to invest your life into, and I think we have to infuse people's lives with meaning so that they can live.
Yes, that's the government's job, to give your life meaning. All right. I forgot. My bad. I didn't realize that it was the government's job to give meaning to my life. Conrad.
Live a good life.
Well, that's a great
Elon, famously happiest man alive.
message, and I think that's one of the most important parts of being a leader, is having a great message and having a great philosophy and having a great perspective. And I mean, that's what disturbed me the most about when Trudeau was running the country, that I didn't feel like, I felt like he was manipulating people with woke...
You're not Canadian, Joe! He's not doing shit for you! He's doing shit for Canada! What a goomba. I didn't feel like he was doing stuff for me. I said from my rich chair in my rich podcast in another country.
Was running the country, that I didn't feel like, I felt like he was manipulating people with woke politics and ideology.
Such as what?
And that it was just this weird slippery slope that people were falling down, where they're losing
Slippery slope of what to what, Joe?
Rights, and you're losing your ability to express.
What rights? What rights did we lose?
Slope that people are falling down where they're losing rights, and you're losing your ability to express yourself.
Where? Are they talking about Bill C-16? Because that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Are you talking about Bill C-16? You know, the one that added LGBTQ people to, like, the protected class of harassment? Yeah, you're not allowed to harass people, Joe. You're sad that you lost your ability to express yourself via harassing a minority? You fucking loser.
And it just really disturbed me, because I always felt that Canada was like one of the freest places and one of the most open-minded places. And it just, I didn't understand how it could fall so quickly.
We still, you know, we are.
In what way are we not open-minded? How has this changed? Maybe Joe, maybe Canada didn't change, maybe you changed.
Free country, and we are a democracy. We have preserved that. You know, my leader, I had this funny moment when Joe Biden came to Parliament Hill, and I said, Mr. President,
God.
I'm Pierre Poilievre. I'm the leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition. And he said, loyal opposition? How can you be loyal and opposition at the same time? It's like, what the hell are you talking about? And because, you know, you guys have...
I don't think that happened. Joe Biden had been to Canada before he was president. And also Joe Biden was the vice president during the Obama administration. I have a hard time believing that he doesn't know what that is. I don't think this... All right, chat, you vote. 1 in the chat if you think the story he just told is true. 2 in the chat if you think it's fake.
A system based on a republic, whereas ours is the British system. And in our system, the opposition is an act of loyalty. That's what our system, it means that if you are opposing the government, you're doing it out of loyalty to the good of the people. In our House of Commons, you have a half circle in your Congress. We have 2 sides in our Parliament. It's 2.5 sword lengths apart, because they used to literally kill each other in the old English days. But the idea is the opposition is to prosecute the hell out of the government, make the mighty low, the most powerful.
Well, that's a lot of twos. Sorry, Poilievre. People don't believe your story. They think you're bullshitting.
People in the country are supposed to tremble every time they walk in that place, because every mistake they made, every abuse of power, every corruption they might have done can be exposed and in front of all eyes. So our system is really designed to constrain the power of government through what we call Parliament. Like, I don't work for government, I work for Parliament, and Parliament works for the people. We call it the House of Commons because it's the House of the common people. It's green in there.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Pierre Poilievre doesn't believe he works for the people. He doesn't believe he... I'm drowning in twos. Yeah, listen, if you don't believe his story, I don't believe his story. I think that story was bullshit. That's a conversation he imagined having with a shampoo bottle in his shower. You listen here, Joe Biden. Alright, on the other hand, Parliament is government, you fucking dolt. Yeah, he's being weird and splitting hairs to, I don't know, for some reason. I don't know, he wants to fucking sound smart to Joe Rogan. It's kind of bad if you're sitting across from Joe Rogan and you don't seem like the smart person in the room. On the other hand, what?
Because they used to meet in the fields of England. And
I don't think Pierre Poilievre knows what his job as opposition actually is. Your job is still supposed to be on the lookout to do the good of Canada and do the good for Canada, and it's to basically present and play devil's advocate, not to just prevent the fucking government from doing anything, which is like just direct opposition, what he tries to do all the time.
And so I really view the role of our parliament to limit the power of government, to maximize the power of the people, make people bigger, stronger, and more...
That is literally not at all what the job of the opposition is. That's the job of all government, not just the opposition.
fulfilled by having the government narrowly focus on the things it's supposed to do. Roads, military, basic social safety net, borders, police, etc., but then leave people alone to live their lives. If I were to start a political...
You literally just said it was the government's job to give people hope and reason and meaning to their life. And now you're saying that the government should stay the fuck out of people's lives? Which is it, Pierre? Which is it, PP? Which is it, Poilievre?
Party from scratch. It would be the mind your own damn business party. You know, just get the government to do its job well, do 4 or 5 things really well, and then let people live their lives.
Well, that sounds...
The government only needs to do 4 or 5 things? Or what are those 4 or 5 things that the government should be doing really well?
It's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh my god,
anybody
fucking Joe's face. That's really reasonable, is it, Joe?
that doesn't go along with that, anybody that's opposed to that, that doesn't even make sense.
No, look, like I said...
What? That's fallacious, by the way. That is fallacious rhetoric and argumentation to just presuppose that anybody who disagrees with you doesn't make any sense without ever hearing their point of view. Carney seems to be doing trade really well. Yeah, he does. He's also polling really well, like across the board.
The way I grew up and everything I've seen ever since, when I talk to farmers or factory workers, electricians, I find they know just as much or more than the so-called experts I encounter on Parliament Hill. Like back during COVID when all these governments were printing money. And all the politicians and bankers said, oh, this is great. Well, look at all this money we get to spend.
That was you!
I walk around communities and I'd have like mechanics say, you know, we're going to have inflation. And I would say, yeah, it makes sense to me. And I'd go back to Parliament Hill and the experts.
Why are you talking to...
Say, no, there's not going to be any inflation. And sure enough,
I don't think
all
that's
that money filtered into the economy, bid up all the goods we buy, and everybody got smoked with higher prices. But the point is that it was the common people who don't study this stuff for a living, who don't read endless reports and studies, who could just figure out that if there's money...
Why are you assuming that the mechanic didn't read studies? You know, mechanics can usually read.
Pouring into the economy that's not matched by goods and services, it's going to bid up the cost of everything. So that's my experience and my ideology is the common guy knows how to make his own decisions. We need to empower him to do that.
Yeah, just stay out of people.
You mean like general protections? They shouldn't be harassed and should be allowed to live their lives regardless? So harassment laws are valid? Or the assisted suicide laws are valid because people should be given those options? Or like abortion? Abortion is a decision to be made? No? 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 I will remind you that this is the same guy who fucking voted no against all of the housing shit forever.
People's lives.
Exactly.
So there's a narrative in America. And
I want to know what he thinks mind your own business means. Like, what does that mean to you, people out there? What do you think? What do you think Pierre Poilievre means when he says the government should mind its own business? What does that sound like? Because I don't know what he means. Does he mean like the government shouldn't impose a curfew? The government shouldn't have laws about when you're allowed to sell alcohol? I mean, I would agree with those. Some of those old school Sunday laws? Does he mean the government shouldn't impose speeding laws? Dog whistle. It does sound kind of dog whistly, doesn't it? You think he's just saying it because he thinks it's what he thinks people want to hear? Doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like that? My recorder. I'm assuming you were meant my I assume you meant my dog whistle. You mean my duck call? Is that what you were looking for? It's a bit pitchy.
Is that you were about to win and your party was about to win, but then Trump came along and said he was going to turn Canada into the 51st state, and everybody went crazy. Is that accurate?
I wouldn't say they went crazy.
No, I wouldn't say that that's accurate. I wouldn't say that that's accurate. Do you guys think that that's accurate? I don't think that that's accurate. I think Trump had an effect, but I think Trudeau stepping down and Mark Carney coming in had a far better effect. Like, I'm not convinced Trudeau would have won if it was still Trudeau there and Trump did his shit. I'm not convinced. I think that the switch from Trudeau stepping down into specifically Mark Carney, because I'm not even convinced that if it wasn't Mark Carney that the Liberals would have won. Mark Carney was just able to ride that wave perfectly and be exactly the guy that everybody felt like they wanted. Because you know what he doesn't just do? He doesn't just complain, right? So he acknowledged people's issues, right? And like Pierre Poilievre does that too. Like he's like, hey, this is a problem. People are upset about this, right? Housing, pricing, inflation, yada, 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 right? These are all problems. We can all agree that these are problems, right? But Poilievre doesn't bring anything to the table to solve the problem. Mark Carney says, hey, yeah, you know what? This is a problem, and here's what I want to do about it. Not only that, Mark Carney is also way more charismatic. The facts are the facts, guys. The facts are the facts. Left or right. Not only is Trudeau more charismatic than Pierre Poilievre is, but Mark Carney is also way more charismatic than Pierre Poilievre is. The facts are the facts. Hey, Just Rez, why are you asking people personal information in the side chat? That's kind of, like, not cool. Like, why, like, if you have a reason why you're asking, like, just your personal curiosity, that's kind of invasive. And something about minding your own business, I think you were just saying, was a pretty cool idea that you said. So the fact that you're fucking judging people based off of other like demographic statuses instead of the validity and the structure of their argument or their point of view says a lot about you. Anyway, I always find that those who advocate for small government and no state interference are all for it until they need the state to intervene on their behalf. I know, right? It do be like that. It really do be like that. Anyway, yeah, Mark Carney won on his own merits. I think he probably would have won without Trump doing Trump things, but I think Trump doing things definitely solidified it a lot, and I think that Mark Carney has been very much able to take advantage of how fucking wacky Trump is by playing the exact, by being like the exact juxtaposition. He is just right now the right man for the job at the right space at the right time.
I mean, it was
they got very upset.
They should be upset, though. I mean,
see, this is what I mean. Nobody answered your question, so you assumed that nobody is family oriented, and you assume that you have to be married and have children to be family oriented. See, your viewpoint, Just Rez, is very, very narrow. Can you define for us what a family even is? I mean, just a little while ago, you were completely ignoring. You demanded statistics. I brought you the statistics, and you ignored them and kept complaining about the BBC, even though the statistics I showed matched what the BBC said. So you think that maybe your mental illness that you claim that you have, that you seem to have, like, self-medicated and seem to have self-diagnosed, seems to be rearing its ugly head? Maybe you should go for a walk. It might make you feel better than watching this stream.
Well, it's a crazy thing to say.
It is a crazy thing to say. Canada's not for sale. We're never going to be the 51st state. You know, we love Americans.
I will remind you that at the beginning of this, Joe Rogan said that Canada was basically America. So, you know, there's that.
As neighbors and friends, but we want to be uniquely and we want to be sovereign as Canadians. It's our country. It's where we grow up. You're a patriot as an American. I'm a patriot as a Canadian. It's where my grandfather arrived. It's where our collective ancestors put
Anytime these guys bring up patriotism, it's so fucking cringe.
On military uniforms and sailed to fight wars. It's where our grandkids are going to live. We're very proudly Canadian. So we're never going to be the 51st state. And I just wish you'd knock that shit off so that we can get back to talking about the things that we can do as two separate but two separate countries that are actually friends.
Did that really have that much of an
Yeah, guys, you knock that shit off.
effect up there? Like, did people take him serious?
He's so blasé about it. He's just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I think a lot of us care. Elon has kids, but that hasn't helped him. Yeah, damn, Jesus. Shots fired. Holy shit.
To talking about the things that we can do as two separate but two separate countries that are actually friends.
Did that really have that much of an effect up there? Like, did people take him seriously?
Is Joe implying that people shouldn't be taking Trump seriously? He just fucking bombed Iran. What do you mean? He also did economic terrorism on purpose. What the fuck? So you don't count as family-oriented unless you have children and are married? Why? This is why I asked you to define family. You can't. Anyway.
I think at first everyone thought it was a joke because we've always had these jokes like, you know, one day we're going to take over Vermont and Detroit should be part of Canada and all that stuff. But then
don't come in here knowing the fucking dynamic and then bitch about the dynamic because you're getting overwhelmed because the chat is giving you pushback. Because you can't handle both at the same time. That's not my responsibility, that's your responsibility. You're the one who came in here asking everybody about their personal life.
We're going to take over Vermont and Detroit should be part of Canada and all that stuff. But then he kept saying it, and you know, it became a lot of people got upset about it, and I think understandably so.
Understandably, yeah. I mean,
yeah, infertile people can't be family oriented. If you're not married, you can't be family oriented.
it's a crazy thing to say.
It is a crazy thing to say.
I talked to him on the phone about it. It was like so funny. He's like, at first I was joking, but then people were like, it's a good idea. Like, that's not a good idea.
What he's saying that, I can assure him of that. But and the tariffs aren't a good idea either. We should get the tariffs out because there's so much we could be doing together as neighbors and partners if we got rid of those tariffs.
Are we friends right now? Are Canada and the United States friends? Can we be friends if fucking the United States keeps trying to punch us in the head? Like, I don't think that's how that works.
You know, I think what are the biggest problems in America today? Affordability, security. And we can help with both.
Why are you... Yeah, okay.
We knock the tariffs down. Let's look at affordability. We got the fourth biggest supply of oil anywhere on Earth. You guys pay a huge price discount for our oil because we're effectively, all our infrastructure to ship it is north-south. And it's a very unique...
This, by the way, is the thing that one of the things that Alberta was complaining about that he brought up earlier, that we sell our oil that comes from Alberta super cheap to the United States, and Alberta could have been making more money. And so Alberta was like, oh, you made this deal with the United States, and we're not making as much money as we could, so you guys are assholes and you're not looking out for us, right? Now, Pierre has flipped this and is now talking about this thing as if it's a good thing that we should be doing, even though he was touting it as a bad thing earlier.
Heavy oil. So we accept, unfortunately, and for now, a price discount on the oil we send you, which can translate into more jobs and paychecks, but also lower energy prices. You've got $5 a gallon right now in lots of places in America. You're buying,
That has nothing to do with the war in Iran, by the way.
produce more so we can sell 2 million more barrels of Canadian oil into the U.S. market. And then there's housing. You've got huge housing pressures on young people. They can't afford a place to live. We're the biggest supplier of lumber for home building of any country that imports to the United States, exports to the United States. We've got very low cost but high.
How is asking if someone has kids not a personal question? That is absolutely a personal question. You're asking anonymous people on the internet about their personal private lives. That is absolutely a personal private question. And then you're using it to judge them. You're using that to judge their argument or their position. You're using it as a way to not just judge them, but to dismiss their point. To say, oh, you're not old enough. Oh, you don't have kids. Oh, you're not married. Therefore, your opinion or whatever you have to say about this is irrelevant and doesn't matter. Which is fallacious. That you want to know what the kind of crowd you're dealing with here, let me tell you. The type of crowd you're dealing with is the type of crowd that isn't going to fall for such fallacious, ridiculous, nonsensical argumentation. You're not going to be able to ad hom your way into changing anyone's mind in this chat. What you're going to get is you're going to get people calling you out for asking inappropriate, irrelevant questions as a way to distract, dissent, and dissuade people from engaging in conversation that they're already going to fucking engage in. Right? So if you're going to be fallacious, people are going to fucking call you out on it. And spamming the word hypocrite doesn't mean anything. If you want to explain how I'm a hypocrite, I'm more than happy to engage. But spam isn't going to do anything. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. It's not going to work. Judging on merit of the arguments instead of DEI, you know what I mean? Based off of, who you are, where you live, how you were born, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, back to business. And one more thing, sorry. It's not inappropriate. It's up to me to decide what is and is not appropriate in my chat. That's not up to you.
Quality softwood lumber we could be shipping. Or the best-selling truck in America for 45 years now is the Ford Series. It's aluminum. It's a military-grade aluminum body. You guys can't make enough aluminum here. You don't have enough bauxite or electricity to convert it into alumina and aluminum. You get your aluminum from us. A tariff does not bring the production to America. It raises the price of the aluminum and therefore the F-Series truck. Get rid of that tariff. You lower taxes. You lower the cost of an F-Series truck for the miner in Appalachia or the electrician in Ohio. And that's just on the affordability side. There's a lot we can do with our minerals to make the continent.
I hate being the bearer of bad news for PP over here, but the people were complaining about the fucking inflation and the cost of living and the cost of housing before the tariffs. Getting rid of the tariffs at best would reset things to where they were already complaining and already headed in a bad direction. I will point out that currently Canada has the lowest, as of last year, had the lowest inflation rate of the G7. The lowest.
And a hell of a lot safer as well. So I think it's in America's interest to come towards a tariff-free deal and trade freely as friends, and that will be good for both of us.
Have you had conversations with Trump about this?
No. I believe in the rule of one prime minister at a time. So I fought like hell to win. I didn't win. We came very close. So I've said, listen, I'll leave it to the prime minister to do the negotiating.
I will point out that he didn't answer the question about whether or not Trump saying the 51st things cost him the election. He didn't actually answer that question.
And I've said I'll support him any way I can. Even in my visit down here, I'm sending him text messages to tell him what's going on, to try and support his work, because what we both want what's best for Canada.
Where are your elections now? When do you have the next elections?
That's this is a strangely hard question to answer because
I know you have a weird system.
Yeah, it's
weird in comparison to ours. Rather,
yours are fixed, as you know. Ours, we have technically fixed election dates, but the government can fall at any time. It's very simple. A rule is that if the opposition parties bind up and they can vote down the government, that is to say, the majority of MPs in the House say we've lost confidence in the government, the election is now. Or if the prime minister decides he wants an election, he can call it, and the election is now. But it has to be sometime in the next roughly 3 years.
Oh, so you have a deadline where it has to take place?
Yeah, that's right. So,
but it could happen tomorrow.
Canadian politics for 101 for Joe Rogan.
It wouldn't necessarily be tomorrow, but in the next few weeks, if there were a non-confidence vote and the government lost it, then they go to an election. So it's kind of like the British system.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it is the British system, really. We adopted the British system almost identically.
So when you're campaigning, you're essentially, this is like a long game.
Yeah.
You're just laying out your
I think Pierre Poilievre has never stopped campaigning. He's been campaigning. He had a hiccup after the election because he didn't know what to do with his hands. But now he's on the Joe Rogan podcast. What is he doing right now if not campaigning? Right?
Strategy, laying out what you would do to make Canada a better place.
Yeah. Well, we have two roles. So I said
Canada has a lot in common with the UK. Yeah.
Leader of the opposition, but I'm also prime minister in waiting. So the notion is that the Canadian people should not only have a government, but they should have an alternative. And that alternative has two functions. Official opposition. It's actually called that. I think it's a proper noun, a capital O, official, capital O, opposition. And also government in waiting. So you have to be prosecuting the government, but you have to present to yourself to people in a way where they say, yeah, that guy or that team could actually be the government. So those are the dual roles that I have to carry out.
Could actually be the government. You're already part of the government. His way of describing shit is so wacky to me.
Interesting. And how long have you been attempting to become prime minister for? How long has this been going on for?
Almost exactly
Forever.
4 years, because I launched my campaign in February of 2022.
Was this something that you had always had in the back of
No, I don't believe that. Hold on. Pierre Poilievre. I'm gonna find out when he became the leader of the opposition. I think he's been wanting to be fucking... Okay, so he's been the leader of the official opposition since 2022. Okay, all right. He was first elected in 2024 and has been the Member of Parliament MP for Battle River Crawford since August of 2025, but he lost that and lost until his defeat in April of 2025. For Battle River Crawford since August of 2025 and previously represented Carleton. Yeah, so he lost Carleton and then had to get a guy to give up his seat so he could run in Battle River. Okay, so... So this motherfucker, at least since he became opposition, he's wanted and served as the Canadian Conservative Party leader of the opposition since 2022. Yeah, all right. At least since he came into power for the Conservative Party. So he's been wanting to be prime minister for longer than that, for sure. But he's been campaigning to be prime minister since 2022. When did hold on. When did Justin Trudeau... Justin Trudeau led the Liberal Party from 2013 until his resignation in 2025. And he was the prime minister from 2015 to 2025. So he led the Liberal Party as opposition from 2013 and then for 2 years before he became prime minister. Now, I would also say that this motherfucker was aiming to be prime minister like his whole life. Like, his whole life was, like, laid out to do that political track. So I'm not saying that Pierre Poilievre is wrong for wanting to take the political track with the goal of being the prime minister one day. But, like, I feel like you're bullshitting a little bit. Just a little bit. Because it seems like nothing this guy does is anything but campaigning.
your mind? Or
I'd say in the back of my mind, but it wasn't something I was set on. Like, I thought maybe, when
I don't
I'm in
believe
my
that.
50s or 60s, I would try it, but I was in no rush to do that.
how old are you now?
I'm now 46.
And so what motivated you to do it?
Well, after...
Yes, we have a Liberal Party literally called the Liberal Party, and Hey, look at that pride flags. Let's go. Trans rights are human rights. Let's fucking go. For the cause! For 10. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Let me get our goal here swapped up a bit. Very nice. We are now at 60% of the way. Yes, we have the new Democratic Party, which if you joined us during when we were watching Stephen Harper and Jean Chrétien talking, the NDP is the new Democratic Party, and Jean Chrétien was riffing on them and saying they shouldn't be allowed to call themselves new anymore. But there's the new Democratic Party, which is the NDP. There's the Liberal Party, which is our red, is our left Liberal Party, and they're center left. We have our Conservative Party. There used to be 2 Conservative parties, but they formed a coalition into 1 Conservative Party. They are blue, and they are right, and they are been kind of leaning more into the extreme right, as you've seen as you've seen with sort of these authoritarian populism stuff that's been going on sort of across the way, right, around the world that's been happening. So it's like not just Canada, but yeah, our red and blue are opposite to the United States. And yes, we have a Green Party. The Green Party is also considered further left than even the NDP is. So they are like, I wouldn't call them extreme, but they're further left than either the NDP, which is orange, and then there's the Bloc Québécois, obviously, which is represented mostly in, Quebec, and they are considered conservative. So they are on the right part of the spectrum. And keep in mind that you're gonna if you keep breaking the rules, you're gonna keep getting timed out. I don't know what to tell you. That's just how it do be. If you don't want to get timed out, listen to the moderators. Hey, welcome. So yeah, our political, however, keep in mind that this is like on a standard political spectrum and not the current United States political spectrum, which is so heftily to the right. Incredibly heftily to the right. So even like the conservative, like the Democrats in America would be the equivalent of like this guy to us. That's how he would come across. Like that's how like Joe Biden comes across as a conservative or as right leaning on our political spectrum. So let's keep going.
After COVID, as COVID was unfolding, it wasn't just the COVID policies themselves, it was the economic policies, because I've been very focused.
Yeah, don't worry. Justrez is stuck on a point that nobody made, and they're arguing with themselves. Don't worry about it too much.
On economics in my parliamentary career, and I was seeing the size and cost of government, not just in Canada, but all around the world, growing so much. And that inflation was just destroying the working class people, and that it was going to get a lot worse. And so I ran on the platform of making Canada the freest country on earth. That we had a tradition of freedom in Canada. One of our earliest.
That's such a non sequitur, guys. Things are really expensive, so I'm gonna run on a platform of the freest country, which almost makes it sound like he's gonna make stuff free for Canadians, which is definitely not what he was planning on doing. So it's a kind of weird jump to have made.
Mr. Wilfrid Laurier was asked, what's Canada's nationality? And he couldn't actually list an ethnicity or a religion because we were already mixed up even 100 years ago. We had Scots and Irish and First Peoples. So he said, look, yeah, French, most of all French and English, and First Nations. So he said, Canada is free and freedom is its nationality. And I wanted to reinstate that idea. I wanted it to be the freest country anywhere on earth. And
by shitting on immigrants? That seems like the opposite. Blaming immigrants for all of the problems. Talking about people with mental health issues as if they're crazy drug addicts. I don't know what he means by freedom. Yeah, great. Me either. What does he mean by freedom? I don't fucking know. Equal rights? Imagine that. Equity? Equality and equity being the way to go? You would think.
So I ran on that platform and won the leadership. and then ran in the last election and stayed on after that election. So that's kind of the last 4
Yeah, the fact that this man is still managed to hold on to his seat as the leader of the Conservative Party is actually fucking crazy. Yeah, not free for immigrants. Only freedom for the people we distinguish need to be free, because he's against LGBTQ stuff, he's against abortion rights, he's got issues with indigenous people, he doesn't like anybody immigrating, etc., etc., etc. So it's like my way or the highway, but if you take my way, it's super free regardless, even though you're born in specific ways.
4 years of my journey.
And so the way your elections work now, so you're essentially just stating your case and going around and talking about what policies you would implement and how you would do things differently, and just waiting.
Yeah, he didn't do that. He didn't propose any proper policy. That's not a thing. We've been watching Pierre Poilievre for like over a year now. He is not really very good at proposing policy. His main thing is to be like Trudeau bad, unga bunga, and then taking money from Russia. Maybe, allegedly.
To see how it all plays out.
We have see our prime minister is different than the president. He's actually part of the legislative branch, so he comes in to the House of Commons, and we debate multiple times a week, he and I. So it's not just, you know, in your system, the Republican and Democrat hold like 4 debates right before the election. In our system, we're always debating. So he comes in, he's on one side. I come in, I'm on the other side. And I ask him like 6 consecutive questions, and then he answers. And we go back and forth. And that's called question period. Then we have these committees where we prosecute and propose on.
If you guys have never watched like the House of Commons, there's like, you can watch it on YouTube. It's like streamed out, right? So you can go and watch it. Watching Pierre Poilievre try to debate is one of the funniest fucking things I have ever seen in my life. This man cannot debate his way out of a wet paper bag. And that's not to say whether or not he would have good policies or whether or not he would do a good job. I personally don't think he would. But you have to admit, the man cannot debate.
Finance, natural resources, healthcare, you name it. So we're constantly prosecuting the government, also proposing better ideas at the same time. So
I don't think he's using the word prosecuting properly. Prosecuting would mean like bringing consequences. That's not really what they're doing. What they're doing is questioning the government and holding the government's like the and it's not even the government. It's the leading party. So it's like they're part of the government. So, like, the way he's describing this is just not, if you're an American and you didn't understand the way Canadian Parliament worked, this is really not going to give you a good idea of how our Parliament works, and is kind of gonna misrepresent it as if, like, the Conservative Party isn't part of the government when they are still a part of the government. So, like,
The other day, I proposed to bring back the auto pact between Canada and the U.S. to have tariff-free trade going both ways across the border. So that's an example of how I'm in a position to actually offer solutions, even though I'm not in the government. And then hopefully government actually steals my ideas. And I've been encouraging them to steal my ideas.
It's not stealing then. Good fucking God. Are you using the one as an I or the one as an L? Is that Rouser, or is it whatever? I don't know how to pronounce your name, so if you want to let me know, it's fine. But you brought up an interesting point. I wanted to read it out. It says, "Well, I have a different background regarding the meaning of freedom because I find that absolute freedom is a concept that cannot be applied, especially in the context of the modern state. The meaning of absolute freedom is that there are no laws, and therefore it would become absurd." Yeah, absolutely. If you're talking from like from a philosophical point of view, like if you want to approach this question as a philosophical question, right? Okay. As a philosophical question, then you're talking about like, if you're talking about anything like in an absolute on its face, almost anything brought forward as an absolute is going to be absurd on its face and not even possible. because we're social and there's more than one of us. If there was one of us, you could probably have absolute freedom because who's gonna stop you, and what the consequences that would happen would be whatever was going to be the natural consequence, as opposed to, so like, you know, I poked a sleeping bear and it woke up and killed me, right? As opposed to like, oh, the law is stepping in, other people are stepping in to prevent you from doing things. You can't have absolute freedom. It doesn't really make any sense. Particularly if you value living in a society, right? Which humans value overall, right? There's a couple of people that are probably like complete isolationists, but, you know, generally speaking, humans are social creatures. So having a society is going to be, we live in a society. So if you want to talk about, we want to make Canada free again, or I want to bring freedom to Canada, I don't know what he's talking about. Which freedoms for what? For who? Because he's opposed to trans rights. He's opposed to freedom from being harassed. For LGBTQ people. He's opposed to abortion rights for women. So that's like that. All of those are restrictive to people. So what, do you want the freedom to say the N-word whenever you want? Like, what is he talking about? I don't know. How can you guarantee everyone's rights if there is absolute freedom? Yeah, you can't. Yeah. While criminals will become free and the entire population will live freely doing whatever they want. Yeah, you don't have you can't have you sacrifice a degree of freedom for safety and equity or equality to everyone else, right? It's the whole adage of like, you're free to swing your arm until it hits my face, right? Because now your freedoms are imposing detriments on other people, right? And so you can also get into like the paradox of tolerance, which I think you're skirting around a little bit, which is just you can't tolerate the intolerant. So if you want to be a tolerant person, you can't be 100% absolute tolerant, because in doing so, you start tolerating intolerance. And when you start tolerating intolerance, intolerance spreads, and then that becomes a problem. So you can't tolerate in an absolute, right? Now, even if you wanted to speak ideally, if you want to go like the Ayn Rand route, right? And you say, ideally, if everybody's looking out for themselves, it's pragmatic to not attack other people. Except that's not always necessarily the case, right? So you start causing problems for the people around you. Anyway.
So what
is this coffee, by the way?
Yes.
I need some
Would you like
caffeine.
some?
Yeah, I need some caffeine there. I'm a terrible caffeine addict.
Oh, he's a druggie. I'm giving him a hard time. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. I'm giving him a hard time.
Me too. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, and shout out to George St. Pierre for hooking this up.
Yes, George is a good man.
He's the best.
A great guy. He said he's going to have me do some pad work with him at some point.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty dangerous.
Oh, that's awesome. He's here all the time.
He's a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he's the best. He's one of the best representatives of martial arts you could ever hope to meet.
He's got humility.
Really? 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 I'm not... The best representative of martial arts... I'm pretty sure, like, Jackie Chan and Jet Li are still alive. All right. I'm sorry. Doesn't Jet Li have, like, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get distracted. Okay. Ray said, well, let's assume that someone wants to apply freedom in everything. It would be fine. I am free to ban abortion, but those who support abortion would be free to do so. Well, how do you want to implement that? Yeah, you don't. So, like, the freedom that you're talking about to be applicable would be, you are free to have a desire, and you are free to have an opinion, but you are not free to impose that opinion onto other people, right? You're not free to force that opinion on others. You can talk to each other, and you can convince each other, and you can be persuasive. You do shitty-ass podcasts like this, or shitty-ass podcasts like this, but you can't impose or force, so you can't force somebody to give birth, or you can't force somebody to have an abortion, right? Right? You can think that person should, or that person shouldn't, so though you're free to do that, but you can't have both, right?
I remember he came to Parliament Hill years ago, and I thought, geez, he's going to be because I thought he'd be cocky and swagger, but he was so down to earth.
Oh, he's so
much
humble.
humility.
For what he's accomplished in MMA, I've introduced him to people, and they have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
And then I go, that is one of the greatest fighters that ever walked the face of the earth.
Absolutely.
And they're like, no way. He's so nice.
And that's the Canadian way, though. Like, it's soft-spoken
Yes.
and gentle and kind, but
tough.
don't piss us off.
Yeah, but tough.
Yeah,
that's
he's
where
really
Trump
tough.
fucked up.
That is pretty. I'll give him that one. That I agree with. That one's pretty accurate.
I wonder what would have happened if he didn't go along with that 51st state nonsense.
Yeah,
You know,
we'll
I mean,
never know.
that
Go along with? He's the one who started it.
that is the narrative in this country, like I said, that if he didn't do that, that you would have won.
Well, you never know, but I try not to cry over spilled milk. I focus on...
I don't think so. I mean, I've already explained why. I don't think so. I think it probably didn't do Pierre Poilievre any favors, particularly because Pierre Poilievre was going on and agreeing. Like, he wants to, as he said, wants to give Trump whatever Trump is asking for, and is desperate in that way, and is on that same populism. Donald Trump light is sort of how he's described in Canada. So, like, when you align yourself with the person talking shit and then you don't change that when they're talking shit, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. You know what I mean?
what I have to do and live in the present. But this new guy... Malott. Have you followed him, Mike Malott?
Oh, sure, I know Mike.
Yeah. He's going to be fighting in Winnipeg. I think he's the next GSP.
He's very good.
You like him?
Yeah, he's excellent. Yeah,
He did a
he's
great job in Montreal. If you saw him there, but maybe...
Oh, yeah, I've been to many of his, called a bunch of his fights. He's
Is that right?
excellent. Yeah, he's excellent.
Yeah, he's my buddy is his trainer, Crew Allen Hamalgan. In Hamilton, he's a Hamilton Steel Town guy, and we're hoping that he has a big win in Winnipeg. So,
well, you guys have one of the best gyms in the world, TriStar in Montreal.
Is that right?
Faraz Zahabi.
Okay.
If there's like maybe a handful of great masterminds in MMA as far as coaches, and
Right.
Faraz is at the top of the list.
Is
for
that
me.
right? And
Yeah.
what's his
He
discipline?
trained GSP.
Is his discipline karate or kickboxing, Muay Thai?
He's a true mixed martial artist, black belt in jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. He can do everything. And he has TriStar is a place where a lot of people from America go up there for their camps.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to drop in and see those guys.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, like I said, GSP trained up there. A lot of fighters trained up there, and he also had a great working relationship with a lot of people in America. So he would come down, and they would exchange fighters back and forth and train with each other.
Yeah. Well, we have
Are there tariffs on the gym now?
a great martial arts tradition in Canada. I don't know if you know Mike Miles. He brought Muay Thai from Thailand to Calgary, like back in the 70s or 80s, and he's still got a great gym there. And
Do you know who Jean-Yves Theriault is?
Yes, he's a buddy of mine.
Oh, really?
From Ottawa, yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
He was a hero of mine when I was a kid.
Yeah, he's incredible.
When I was kickboxing, he was like my idol.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he know that?
I never talked to him.
Well, he's going to see
I bought
this.
his book.
Yeah?
I bought his book, and I started running stairs because of his book. Because he
Right.
was talking about how it increased his leg muscles and his kicking power.
I remember that. It was in one of his documentaries or something. He said his kicks weren't strong enough, so he would do stairs. But I went and trained at his dojo a few times. It's in South Ottawa.
He was incredible.
Yeah.
He was one of the truly elite kickboxers of his time.
He was a great boxer. Like, I know he never competed as a boxer, but his hands were
Right.
fantastic. And
Well, that's really what separated him from a lot of other people. It was like his accuracy and his technique was pristine.
he told me that he would spend hours studying the distances that
I'm
you'll-
just gonna jump ahead a little bit because I don't fucking care. They're welcome to nerd out about their shit
or
all they
limbs
want.
would
I know
have
it's
to
fine.
travel, learned, and necessary. And he's a really good heart too, And when I feel, but with COVID, who was
What?
into jiu-jitsu
Oh no,
club
he's gonna
as
turn
well.
it into a
And when I
COVID
went-
conversation. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Pierre. Don't do it.
And there was a blind fellow who was into jiu-jitsu, which you can do as a blind person because it's so much about feel. But with COVID, he couldn't do jiu-jitsu anymore because they disallowed that kind of up-close contact. So he actually found a way to train this guy with focus mitts, even though he was blind. It was really incredible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just, but it was incredible amount of patience he had invested in making sure this young man could keep doing his.
I will remind you that COVID had restrictions on like the gym being open, but you also had restrictions on like the people you could like the number of people to be in contact with. So this guy could still practice jujitsu. He just had to make sure that the people he was practicing jujitsu with were within his circle. That was it. It's not like that. The COVID didn't stop him from being able to do jujitsu or practice jujitsu. It would have closed the gym, but it wouldn't have fucking prevented it.
Physical activity throughout COVID.
Wait a minute. So they allowed pad work, but they didn't allow jujitsu?
I don't know if it was a government policy or if it was just it was a policy at the gym because you're just so wrapped up and sweating and all these.
The gyms in America.
So maybe COVID closed the gym and maybe it didn't. The politician doesn't know. The politician that was bitching about the COVID restrictions doesn't know what the COVID restrictions were. Of course he doesn't.
America, everybody just
kept going.
They hid. They would like put foil over the windows and like hide or come in through the back door. A lot of the gyms in LA, that's what they did.
They just plowed ahead.
They just figured out a way to not get in trouble. And some people did get caught and get in trouble, and nothing ever came of it because it's pretty unconstitutional.
Except for all the extra dead people and all the extra people who got COVID.
To tell people that they can't work out together. Like, the government really didn't have the right to tell people that they couldn't do what they wanted to do. That was a legal thing that you can do. Like, all of a sudden, there's this mandate, there's this law or rule being passed down, or at least it's being promoted, that you're not allowed to go to a gym and work out with other people. Like, but
so I guess Joe Rogan doesn't believe in emergency powers. Okay, the fact that he thinks that they're unconstitutional is a bit questionable, but it doesn't surprise me that Joe Rogan doesn't really understand constitutional law.
Those are the healthiest people. Those are the people that are the least likely to get sick.
No! Absolutely not. Nope, that's not how that works. Big muscle does not mean big immune system. Those are not the same thing. You can also have lots of muscles and not be healthy as well. Go figure, right? Who'd have thought?
Like, this is crazy to say. And you know if you're sick, and if you just have a good gym with good people, say, hey, don't show.
Some people don't know when they're sick, by the way. There were some people that had COVID, were carrying COVID, and didn't get the symptoms, or didn't get extreme symptoms either. So this is just all a lie, and it's all just incorrect.
And you know if you're sick, and if you just have a good gym with good people, say, hey, don't show up if you're sick, everybody should be okay. These are the people you
If you have a good gym with good people who know when they're sick and exactly can self-diagnose, no. And yes, you can be asymptomatic. Do you think that word is too big?
should worry about the least.
We need to have common sense again, and too many governments in the Western world.
It's not how that works. Common sense is not the answer to this. That's not even what you're talking about. What you're talking about is whether or not something being common sense versus whether or not something is intuitive, right? There's a difference between something being common sense and something being intuitive or not intuitive, right? So a lot of mathematics and physics isn't necessarily intuitive. Right? You would think it would be this, but actually it's this. So if you want a really good example in let's go to science for a second. Let's give it an example that everybody's probably seen and everybody probably knows. If you drop a feather and drop a bowling ball, or you drop a ball this big and you drop a bowling ball, you drop a tennis ball and a bowling ball, which one is going to hit the ground first? The intuitive answer versus the actual answer. Right? Intuitively, you might think one thing versus another thing, right? A lot of phenology falls under this. So, like, it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, but it's not actually a duck, right? It's actually this other thing. because of this other fucking stuff. Right? So like there's plenty of things that are not intuitive. Right? Germ theory isn't exactly intuitive, is it? If somebody isn't coughing and somebody is coughing, and the person who isn't coughing has a conversation with somebody, is that person going to get sick? And what about this person that what if this same person also talks to somebody who is coughing? Are they going to get sick? You don't know. They might not. The person who's coughing might just have a cold and might not pass it on. The person who is asymptomatic, the person who's not coughing and not showing any signs, might be carrying a disease. People for a long time thought that AIDS was transmitted just by being around somebody. You shake somebody's hands with AIDS, you might get AIDS. That's what people thought. They were wrong. It's almost like common sense is not a factor here. Also define it, but that's extra.
World have gone way too bossy. They're
Yes.
just looking for every excuse to boss people around.
What?
And that's what we have to push back
Citation.
again. And it's, EV mandates or, excessive control of the internet or...
Excessive control of the internet? You mean the cyber harassing laws? Is that what you're talking about?
the massive increase in the cost of government, which is really like appropriating the private voluntary economy into the coercive government economy. That's what we're seeing.
Coercive, his language. Oh my God, his fucking language.
Across Europe, in the UK, parts of the United States, as well as back home. So we need to reverse that trend and get people back in charge of their lives.
Well, the narrative has always been that rights lost are never regained, or are very, very difficult to regain them. So how could you reverse that?
Well, you have to keep fighting. I mean, we did regain our rights after COVID, and the people have to.
It was only ever supposed to be temporary, my guy, because nobody lost fucking rights. It was an emergency measure because of a deadly virus that was fucking killing people. You guys are insane. What are you talking about?
Look at the history of it.
Which rights did you regain?
Well, all the mandates are gone now.
Which rights did we lose? None.
But those were ridiculous anyway.
Yeah,
right?
They were ridiculous, but
and they also impeded business. They ruined people's lives, social lives.
All right, fine. They're gonna make me do this. All right. Total number of COVID 2020, 2021, 2022. Give me the number. Give me a rough number. They're really gonna block it? Assholes. Alright, fine. Let's find another one. John Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center. Let's try this one instead. Globally, it's a morbid milestone. United States officially surpassed 1 million reported COVID-19 deaths as of May 17th, 2022. All right, now let's do Canada. The count of total cases in Canada was 1.471. Let's try. Releasing updates on provincial figures. 307,205 deaths in Canada in 2020. In the year that the COVID pandemic began. That was the total number of deaths. Not just COVID, that was all of them. Became the third leading child with a loss of 16,151 Canadian lives attributed directly to the disease in 2020. Let me see if I can get in total. All right, so here's as of April. Here we go. As of April 3rd, 2024, last updated. April 3rd, 2024, as opposed to the US over here at May 17th, 2022, the United States surpassed 1 million. Canada is at 59,034 deaths. So if you want to talk about whether or not what Canada did to prevent people from dying during fucking COVID. Guys, if you have a terminal disease, just go for a walk. Don't worry about it. According to Joe Rogan and fucking Pierre Poilievre over here. Just go outside. If you're 75 and you have a horribly debilitating disease that is ruining your life, just go outside. Because, not dying in COVID definitely doesn't, help people's livelihoods at all. This is such a fucking joke.
But freedom has always had to be taken. Our tradition goes back to 1215 with the Magna Carta, the Great Charter. And most of the freedoms we have today were in that original document. Right to a jury trial, no arrest without charge, no confiscation without compensation, no taxation without representation, all comes from that one document, the Magna Carta. And it was because King John was taken aside by the barons and they said, listen, pal.
Why the fuck is he talking about the Magna Carta? We have the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, right? Or is that going to be too complicated for the Americans?
This is the choice. Either you sign this and follow it or we overthrow you. And as a result, we got the Magna Carta and when you guys had your Boston Tea Party and said you can't tax our tea because we don't elect you, that was an appeal as English. You were Englishmen saying, we're Englishmen. We have the right not to be taxed unless we vote for it and we're going to throw you out otherwise.
The fuck does this have to do with coronavirus, Poilievre? What the fuck are you talking about? Look at this. Oh my god! Canada, France, Germany, India, United Kingdom, and the United States. Let's just turn off everywhere else except Canada and the United States. Look at that shit! Bro, this was fucking a big-ass spike in January of 2021, and this is fucking April of 2020. The United States was fucking doubling our fucking numbers. Guys, if you've got a cardiovascular disease, go outside and go for a walk. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Actually cracked. Oh man, look at this cool map. Wow, damn, look how red the United States is compared to literally 0 in 2026. Bro, there's been 250 people in the United States that have died from fucking COVID in fucking February of this year. My guy! Unreal. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. The only place that is still fucking dying of COVID is the fucking United States. Jesus fucking Christ. Unreal. You know what? I gotta applaud Gistrez a little bit. I gotta applaud you for sticking to your stupid guns as hard as you are, with like completely of just throwing the absurd nonsense out there. I'm here for it. That's fucking crazy. Can you imagine telling a bedridden 75-year-old that is suffering and waiting to die from their terminal illness that they should just go take a walk? The balls that it takes to go up to grandma and be like, just fucking go outside, bitch. Stop being sad.
That came out of the fields of Runnymede in England in 1215. So it's a long march towards freedom, and it's never actually done. Like, there's no permanent victories or defeats. You just have to keep going forward.
So if you were elected,
I guess.
Yeah.
let's say you get in right now, what's one of the first things you would do?
I would unblock our resources. So we have the most resources of any country in the world, per capita, bar none. We need to have, to make it happen, though, we need to have the fastest permits anywhere in the world and the lowest taxes on producing those resources. We're the fourth in oil, the number one in uranium, number one in...
Why do we need to have the lowest taxes to produce? The money's already there. Clearly, the resource is already there. He must think he's talking to robots. Ray, thank you for joining us. I've enjoyed your contributions. You've been a joy.
Potash for fertilizer. We are the fifth biggest supplier.
The truckers were anti-vax, anti-masks. Yes. Yeah, that was the truckers.
Of natural gas. We have the longest oceanic coastline. Like, we have 12 of NATO's we have 10 of 12 of NATO's defined defense minerals. So, you had that guy, Palmer Luckey, on. Mm-hmm. I don't think he can make his stuff without Canadian minerals. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll correct me. But like night vision technology, you need to have germanium for that. You need to have gallium to make semiconductors and radar. You need to have aluminum for armored vehicles and airplanes. You need cobalt for heat-resistant alloys in fighter jets. You need tungsten for armor-piercing ammunition. We have it all. And what I want to do is unblock those resources, produce them in abundance for...
How are they blocked, though?
Ourselves and our allies, make $200,000 paychecks for our trades workers, build up an enormous...
That's not how that works. If you think that mining more shit means that the people at the top of the fucking pyramid are going to trickle down more economics. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, he's describing trickle down economics. He got cancer just walking off. Rub some dirt in it. Oh, no.
Strategic stockpile of it so that we have tons of leverage in international relations. And if, God forbid, there is ever a global conflict, we would have all the resources necessary to win it. So, but we need to...
There's already a global conflict. Multiple global conflicts are currently happening right now. I can name you 3 off of the top of my head, and that doesn't even include internal conflicts. You've got Israel and Palestine, Israel and Iran, fucking Iran and, like, everybody else, or, like, their immediate neighbors, Iran and the rest of the Middle East, United States and Iran, Israel versus Palestine, did I say that one already? Ukraine versus Russia, France, Germany, Canada versus Russia. China exists. China also, only a handful of years ago, had massive protests in Hong Kong. And then also Egypt, also Lebanon has a whole thing going on. This doesn't include Thailand. Fucking... The fucking One China project. My guy. North Korea versus South Korea. I don't know what to tell you. What does this man do?
We need to get rid of a lot of laws that are blocking and replace them with laws that have fast permitting so that we can produce this stuff on scale very quickly.
So is
some of this stuff is stuff that our government, like the liberal government, is currently already working on as well. So, Like, for example, eliminating trade barriers between the provinces, right? That's been being worked on. There's been some stuff signed in. There's stuff that still needs to be done, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah. There's also, like, debates and discussion around the Ring of Fire, which has to have a lot of Indigenous people on board, and about how we're going to go about that, so there's still, like, a lot. And the Indigenous communities hate Poilievre, as far as I know, and the reason I know this is because I fucking watched him going and watched to the Indigenous conventions, and the chiefs stood up and turned around when he started talking to them. They want nothing to do with him. Of course, they're all related to America. Wait, okay, in America's defense, you're not wrong, but in the defense of the United States, the world has relied very, very heavily on the United States, and the United States has strong-armed itself into that position globally for a really long time. So everybody's kind of related to the United States, and you kind of can't not be involved with the United States in some capacity. Unfortunately, so, like, you know,
Concern the environmental impact of extracting these things?
Oh my god, that's actually a real question. Thank you, Joe, for asking an actual question. This is the first real question he's asked, and it's been 40 minutes.
Environmental impact of extracting these things? Is that what's holding it up?
That's the ostensible reason, but I just think across the Western world, like Europe, UK, parts of the US, and Canada, there's a problem with bureaucracy just growing way too damn big.
That doesn't answer the question, Pierre. The question was, are you concerned about just drilling in, drill baby drill? Like, because, you know, drill baby drill really did help the United States economy, didn't it? Oh, whoops, no it didn't. Oh, wow.
You know, the First Nations in our country are incredibly forward-looking. The Squamish built 6,000 units of housing on 10 acres of land. You can believe it. In a city of Vancouver where it's very hard to get a permit to do anything because it was their land, so they did it. They're trying to they're building now an LNG liquefaction plant where they replaced an old 30 mills. They cleaned it up and put an LNG plant there. But the federal government took a lot of time, 14 years, to give them a permit. So we need to think like they're thinking, which is entrepreneurial, speed of business, get it done quickly. That's how you develop. Like, we have this community in my district. It's called Hardisty, 600 people. They manage $100 billion of oil in a town of 600 people. Why is it there? Because their municipality offers a permit in 1 week with 1 page. And I wanted to tell this story, so I called them and I said, can I have someone come and do a video with me? And they said, we don't have anyone here. We don't have, like, bureaucrats that can help you. They're all out on their farms right now. They come in, they stamp the permit, and they go back to their farm. Well, that's why we have $100 billion.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that he's talking about is stuff that is being streamlined and rectified by Carney's government, and a lot of these things did happen during Harper's tenure. Harper did a lot of damage to our economy and a lot of damage to, like, drilling, like, he did a lot of damage to, like, wetlands and conservation, and, like, selling off land to private equity and private owners, the land that was otherwise, like, public land, and so that's been problematic, and there's been, like, a lot of trying to untangle that's been, like, a bit of a sticky mess that has not quite gotten resolved. Of course, Pierre Poilievre in the past has said he wants to do more of that, because he wants to just free up, quote unquote, free up industry, but he wants to give tax breaks to rich people to do trickle-down economics. It's just trickle-down economics. And as we learned, and as we all ought to know, trickle-down economics doesn't fucking work.
$1 billion of energy moving through the area, which is bigger than the GDP of many countries because they have fast permits. And that's what we need in Canada. We need to be the fastest place to get things done.
But don't you think you need some safe...
That's a Carney talking point, by the way. Carney's talking point is that there's a lot we need to do, and we need to do it at a rate faster than we've ever done it before. So, I guess Poilievre agrees.
Guards to protect the environment, and how do you balance that out?
Protect it quickly. We can figure out whether a project is damaging to the environment in weeks and months rather than decades. Like there's nothing you're going to learn in year 14 of the review that you couldn't have learned in month 14.
He actually thinks that it's like it doesn't take time to go out and like do like surveys of the land, that like you have to leave the house and go and check those places and see what's underneath and like do drills to do the surveys, and you can't just look at a land and be like, yeah, let me like tell me this man doesn't understand anything about fucking environmental studies without telling me this man doesn't know anything about environmental studies. Also, this is implying that there wasn't a back and forth of them trying to revise the plan for a way to try to get it to work.
So there's ways to protect the environment. When the Germans had to break their dependence on Russia after it invaded Ukraine, they approved an LNG import terminal in 60 days. They completed the whole damn thing in less than 2.
You mean when emergencies happen, things go fast? And that's true.
200 days. And guess what? No environmental problems. They got their engineers to sit down and figure out how to do it quickly. And that's the mentality that we need to get in Canada.
I want a citation of no environmental problems, by the way, because there's a big difference between we want a new pipeline versus we are replacing one pipeline with another one. Those are different things, Poilievre. Oh my god. I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to see if Joe's going to ask a new question.
So what would you be able to do to bypass all this bureaucracy? How could that be done legally?
Well, you slim it down to one project, one environmental review instead of 20 or 30. You have...
I want a citation on 20 or 30.
A fixed timeline that the bureaucrats have to give an answer of 6 months rather than just as long as they want to drag it on for.
Sure.
And the other thing I would do is study areas where they're perfectly situated to have a project like a pipeline or a mine or an LNG export terminal or a port expansion, and I would pre-permit it. I would say to our officials, go in, study, make sure that the environmental aspects are all in good order. I'll issue a pre-permit, and then anybody who comes along and wants to build it, as long as they follow the terms and act responsibly, has a guaranteed permit before they even apply for it.
And acts responsibly. And acts responsibly. Oh god. I like some of these things are already exist. Like these, Feline's pointing out the timetables are already there. And a lot of this has already been or is in the process of being streamlined by our current government. So just maintain the citation needed stamp. Yeah, I know. All right, we're going to pause it there because it's like 4:30 or almost 4:40. I have another stream to do after this. I gotta go fucking play some games. Victoria points out, because we have fucking German engineers who had the information already and just needed to switch some things around. It was not a never-seen project before project in an area no one knew anything about. Right, you've got exactly, you got it. You understand. It's almost like this guy is inventing problems where problems do not exist to pretend that he's coming along to fix it. Which is pretty crazy. But, as it do be, why is this giving me Doge vibes? Because it is. Because that's all it is. It's all nonsense. I will remind you that Project 2025, when we were reading that shit, was all about review this, review this, review this, review this. And it's like, when are you going to get anything done? Oh, you're not? Oh, okay. Hey, do you think any of those reviews ever came out that Project 2025 demanded? Yeah, no, they didn't. I would like to point out, by the way, not a single person... Not a single person has been charged by Doge with fraud in the government. That hasn't happened. Never happened. And now Elon Musk has all your fucking data. Fucking, he's probably making money selling it. Ha ha, tee hee, funny story. Gross. Dumbass stamina limits. Yeah. We'll do more of this tomorrow. Oh, it started storming. Good timing for me then. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the rain hitting my window. Where's our 2K tariff checks? I know. Maybe you should review the dispositions from that guy we're behind us. No, we're gonna continue this tomorrow. Because like I said, my timeline has changed. So I have a busy day tomorrow. We're going to play some Pokemon in the morning. We're going to come back to this in the afternoon. Then a couple of hours will go by, and then we'll go play... we're not playing Star Trek. We're setting up for my game over on Top Hats Off. So we're going to be doing that. And then we might have Dumb Fuck Friday this Friday. I'm not 100% sure. Manya might need a break, or I might be dead after that much streaming. So we'll see. I'm just fucking live all day on Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back tomorrow. We'll get this one wrapped up. I should also tell you, by the way, this video, this stream was posted 7 days ago. So this is only a week old and it has 2.6 million views on it. So great. Now a lot of people don't know dick shit about, now a lot of Americans are extra wrong about the way Canada functions. Oh well. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Consider becoming a member, subscribing, join on Twitch, follow, whatever, blah, 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 Patreon and shit. I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good day, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.